Chris, speaking of navigating potholes,
Yes, sir.
last year was full of potholes, so to say.
Sure was.
Yeah. Just how about that for a transition?
Yeah, it was great.
I mean, I'm just gonna. That was.
Yeah, we did
I fancy. Yeah, we did it. Yeah. So just real quick, I'll kick it off. My son is a bowler.
Good bowler, a really good bowler.
Yeah, Wilson High School. He's coming up on his senior year. He actually got kicked off yet another round of private coaching lessons through his first 300 game to kick off the high school season.
Oh, wow.
Last year. Yeah. He's come close a bunch of other times. So he's really into it. And we've been meaning to get to decades to check it out. So now we're just going to have to, because I put it out there.
Yeah, you're obligated.
We're going to come. Yeah.
It's been a while since we've done a company employee appreciation event.
There you go.
What better place to host an event, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's set it up.
Embarrass myself and throw a 73.
Yeah, there you go. So Chris, what is Decades?
So Decades is actually it's a retro arcade boutique bowling, which means we have 6 lanes, so it's not a huge bowling center or anything. It's more of an upscale approach to bowling in arcades, with also a full service restaurant and a complete bar. So we have interesting cocktails, fun wines, 24 craft beers on tap, excellent food, and really just a ton of fun things to do. So it's this unique blend and of our own, the ownership's personalities and kind of things that we love, and we're just kind of showing Lancaster City all the things that we enjoy and hope they enjoy it as well. So you're seeing some pictures of the space, and it's located in the Star Armory building at 438 North Queen Street. Star Armory building has been around for years and years. It was an armory for the National Guard, where they did a ton of training, and it's held circuses, professional fights, professional basketball games, theater company, and now happy to be Decades. So it's an interesting building, a unique space, and just a fun concept for people to have a good time.
That it's interesting you mentioned the basketball. I was there during your first year and noticed the hardwood court floor, and that you still have the lines for basically a basketball court. So that's cool tie in there. It's a really neat building just to be in there and see what you've done with the place. It's cool.
It really is beautiful. Go ahead.
No, you may finish.
It's just a beautiful building. Like the ceiling's original, and we didn't have to do too much there. And then the floor, like you said, it did have the basketball lines. We just had it refinished and decided to keep it as it is, because we love that kind of vintage character. And it's a conversation piece, and you would be shocked how many people have had different experiences and like to tell us about what they used to do at the Armory, dances, they saw Santa. It just goes on and on and on. So we just find out more and more about the building every day we're open. It's really cool.
Yeah, your pictures of food are coming up. So I was going to ask, on a scale of 1 to amazing, your cheesesteak egg rolls, where does that fall?
Well, we make them, and they're very time consuming. So I understand what the egg roll lady's also going through on a weekly basis, but they're delicious and they are selling really, really well. We've added them to the menu in the last 2 months, and they're one of our top sellers. So I think the word's getting out that they're delicious. So you got to try them.
So, pulling off a venue like Decades, really, shame on me. This is a first. I'm sorry. I'm focusing on diet again, and I have reminders, and that's what that was. That's my bad.
After we talk about cheesesteak egg rolls.
Yeah. It's going just okay.
Is that the reminder? Get cheesesteak egg rolls?
It's going to be the new reminder, yeah.
So that could have been better. So at any rate, Decades is really a couple to maybe a few or more businesses in one. I mean, you've got bowling, you've got arcade, you've got restaurant. You know, you had weddings, so entertainment venue, event space. How does a business like that come about? Where did it start? What was the idea, the grand plan? Tell us about that.
Yeah, you're right. So, I mean, for years and years, so it's three childhood friends, Adam Ozimek, Jonathan Yeager, and myself. We all went to Hempfield. There's a good picture of us when we were a little younger and skinnier. And so we started as a company as doing Lancaster Craft Beer Fest. But we've always been friends from our Hempfield days. And we just kind of decided that Lancaster needed more entertainment options. You know, we always thought, oh, you can get a good, cocktail, you can have a nice meal, but really kind of live music was the extent of activity. And we, as consumers, felt that there was a gap that needed to be filled. And we also thought that we could be the ones to potentially come up with something to fill that gap. And Adam and I have always been big, retro. They weren't retro at the time, but video games, and now they're retro. And Jonathan loves bowling as well as Adam does too. So it just kind of came together as a blend of we should do a barcade somewhere. And we always thought potentially we could add bowling if the building allowed for it, because there's not a lot of buildings in Lancaster City that can accommodate several bowling lanes as well as an arcade and restaurant. And it's interesting because this is a nice tie-in with the Lancaster City Alliance. We made them aware that this was a concept that we were looking to do. And they actually provided us with a few people to contact about some of the buildings. Now we wound up looking at some of the things that were suggested through them and ultimately found the Star Armory, which is the perfect building for us. But the Lancaster City Alliance really does make those connections, and they were a part of our process and a very helpful one. And we still look to them and their leadership all the time. So they, even in a challenging year with the pandemic, Lancaster City Alliance was kind of a hub for information and did a great job of connecting the best information to the people that needed it to figure out how to kind of best navigate the pandemic and operate their businesses, decades included. So, I mean, it was just such a good tie-in for them, and their help was invaluable. And I know that a lot of restaurants kind of feel that way. So their work kind of continues throughout every step of your business existing before it's actually open, and then they support you even further. So they're just a great organization. Can't say enough about them.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have that type of support from an organization like that.
So beyond cheesesteak egg rolls, which I think the producers are now just messing with me. What other type of food do you serve? You said you make the egg rolls, so you're a scratch kitchen.
Yeah, we try to be as close to a scratch kitchen as possible. We're seeing some interesting supply chain issues starting to pop up in our industry. So we hope to stay a scratch kitchen, but if we can't get the things we need to do that, then we'll have to adjust. But, we have a lot of different food offerings, but we found a lot of success with our vegan options. We have a vegan chicken sandwich that does really well, vegan chicken wings. Of course, we have traditional wings and traditional fried chicken sandwich, but we've been seeing some of those vegan options really fly out the door, which means that there's a lot of demand for it, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, a lot of shareable items for people while they're bowling or, making their way around playing arcade games and return to the table. So kind of that community aspect and, it's been mostly families for the past few months, just because that's what you're supposed to be doing. So now that restrictions are going to be lightening up here on Memorial Day weekend, it's an exciting time for Decades to kind of get back to the business that we wanted to show the public, and not one that is fit into a lot of different things to try and keep people as safe as possible. It'll still be safe, and we have a ton of space to spread everyone out. It's just we've had to kind of socially distance things and maneuver games in different ways that we didn't really want to. And offering more bowling. We've only been able to operate 3 out of our only 6 lanes. So to have some more bowling available to people, our wait list can sometimes be 4 hours, and that's just not fun. So, but we also have things to do while you're waiting, so it's not that bad. But so I mean, as far as the food goes, we do have a cheesesteak too. So you could literally go overboard and do cheesesteak egg rolls and then a cheesesteak for dinner. Maybe we could get some cheesesteak and cut it up and throw it on some dessert for you as well. Maybe tuck it in a waffle.
Cheesesteak craft beer.
Cheesesteak walk it.
Oh man.
Yes, that's right.
Chris, you mentioned the arcade games. My favorite game is the timed basketball hoops. I can spend hours there. What are your most popular games? What do people like?
Well, we do find that the action games are very popular. So skee ball, tremendously popular with all age groups. And then the basketball one is, of course, very fun. And when we can run both, it can be very competitive because you can link them up and compete. But we have about 30 digital arcade games. I think Ms. Pac-Man is very popular. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the X-Men game from the 90s. So we have a lot of fun stuff, but we do try to hit the major eras and decades, so to speak, of the different arcade games. So we do have some older ones like Centipede and
Frogger.
Frogger, of course. Yep. And then our newest game is actually Mario Kart. It's a sit-down racing game. Again, it can be very competitive. So we have some driving games as well, but and then digital pinball, which is kind of a cool thing. There's 860 pinball games on this one machine. It's a polarizing thing because a lot of pinball fans, and me included, like to kind of see and feel all the inner workings of things, but they're also a nightmare to maintain. So this kind of solves that problem, and it's kind of cool you could say, oh, they don't have this game, but chances are we do, because it's on that digital version, which is pretty fun. So yeah, I mean,
you have pinball, digital pinball. You have like the old school, like one-off game pinball machines.
What's that?
As far as pinball goes, you said you have digital pinball. Is that right?
Yeah, and just that one at the moment. We used to have we had 3 like actual pinball games before, but they are quite large and take up a lot of space. So when we had to redo the floor plan to kind of distance things out, pinball got the axe, unfortunately. So we're trying to find ways to get back to that, but they are still quite large.
So you guys get to turn the corner at Decades on Memorial Day weekend. You'll be able to be full capacity. We clip out our guests, so this is a great opportunity to kind of share what your plans are going forward, what things will be like. Obviously, bowling is going to go back to 6 lanes, I think I heard you say. What else is it going to look like come Memorial Day weekend for you?
So we've actually never been at full occupancy. We added outdoor dining and takeout this past year. And then, with indoor dining being so limited and kind of trying to be as careful as we can, we've never actually seen our own business be at full capacity with the outdoor dining added and takeout. So we're really excited for that as well, to know what we have there. And I think for us come Memorial Day, we have so much space at Decades that it's not really going to change too much for us, other than we can kind of return to having all the bar stools back. And it's such a fun and lively setting when you're in there, and people are kind of bowling. You hear that in the background. You hear the arcade games going off. The bartenders are making drinks, and so it's just so much fun. And I'm just really looking to get back to that, and I know I'll enjoy it. So, but just to see people kind of interacting with each other and having fun at the games, and it really is kind of like we've missed that. And we have to enforce a lot of different rules too, so that hasn't been fun either. And kind of returning to our normal setting just should be fun for everyone, including the staff. And I think they're ready for a bit of a break. And um, this is what the CDC is recommending. So I think we're all moving forward on the assumption that that's the safe thing to do, and we're excited to kind of see people's smiling faces again throughout the building, and not just at certain times when they're seated at tables. So I think that's the biggest thing for us, is just kind of getting back to what we intended.
Very good.
That's great.
So you're coming off of Restaurant Week. How was Restaurant Week for you?
It was really good. We did a 3-course menu and saw a lot of new people come in and check it out, and had a lot of good positive feedback. And we're excited to do that again in the fall. It's twice a year. So yeah, that was exciting too. And we saw a lot of takeout go out too for Restaurant Week participation. So that's a new angle that we'd never really thought of before. So that was kind of born from the pandemic, and we will continue doing takeout and offering specials that way. So it's all positive stuff.
Chris, you participate in a citywide happy hour. Is that right?
Well, we're about to. It's
Okay.
a thing that's starting in June, and I appreciate you mentioning it. And it's called Bourbon Time. The concept is that it's Jim Beam, Suntory, so it's like Jim Beam, Maker's Mark, Knob Creek, those brands. They're really it's a nationwide thing. You'll see it on TV coming up shortly. But here at the local level in Lancaster City, we're gaining restaurants to participate in a citywide happy hour that is reclaiming. A lot of people have been working from home, or just not separating their life from work because they can do it remotely. So it really is kind of the concept of reclaiming time for yourself. So a lot of bars will offer those brands of bourbon at different times, but probably 6 to 7. And we're just trying to encourage people to come down, support the restaurants. If you're a bourbon drinker already, it's a no-brainer. But there's a lot of fun things that restaurants will do with it to feature it. And then I know at Decades, we're also trying to work in a charity aspect of things. So it'd be, possibly a slight discount to the consumer, but also a donation to several charities that you could actually choose which one your funds go to. So that's kind of our concept. We're still kind of defining that, but you will start to see things about Bourbon Time. And I encourage you to go out and kind of participate. The Lancaster City Restaurant Week website is not ready yet, but it will be the landing page for the Bourbon Time, so you can see all the restaurants that are choosing to participate and what they're offering. So kind of stay tuned for
Well, that's
details,
very
but as
cool.
I said, you'll see that coming up in June.
Well, I'm a big fan of bourbon.
I was gonna say that's like Jeff time.
Yeah, for sure. Booker's
Bourbon and
is
cheesesteaks.
probably my Booker's I like.
Set
I
the
like
reminder.
it all. It's like I start down one road,
Set
then
the
it's Michter's, then it's Maker's. It just like doesn't end. If it's brown liquor, I'll drink it for the most part. And that's good. You're doing the charity. So you come in, you do the citywide happy hour. You get a great pour of your favorite bourbon, and you do some good. So you can actually nominate your own charity.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we
some
plan to
proceeds
do
go to.
at Decades. Each restaurant will be slightly different, and I'm not sure, that's kind of it's an optional thing, and we just decided that that's what we would like to do. It also runs from June through September, so there's quite a bit of time to kind of collect those funds and really make a bigger impact. And then it just kind of, that rolls right into Extraordinary Give season. So, yeah, we're excited about it and hope that restaurants will jump on the opportunity.
Yep. Is there anyone that you're supporting? If, like, say somebody says, I don't know, I'm kind of drawing a blank. Is there one or two or one that
Are you talking about bourbons or restaurants?
I guess the restaurants like you, like somebody comes in for decades and they don't have a charity they can think of for the happy hour aspect of things.
So what we're doing right now is we're actually talking to our staff and saying, what are the top three charities that are important to your family that you work with on a regular basis or have experience with? What do you find important? And so we've got a short list from that, and we're also doing the same with some of our customers and regulars, and just trying to get an idea of like what are the charities that people find most important right now that will have the most impact. So we're actually going through that process right now. So if you're a consumer and you're coming to Decades for this kind of thing, it'll just be a little slip of paper. You buy the drink, you say, hey, here's the three charities that we're supporting. You check, and we take care of the rest for it. Nice and easy.
Yeah. Very good. Very good.
You've mentioned the relationship with the Lancaster City Alliance. What difference have they made for Decades and for other Lancaster businesses?
So on speaking for Decades specifically, they helped kind of navigate a couple of interesting things. Like you said, we've got an arcade, bowling, restaurant, bar, a lot of different concepts in one building. And so the Lancaster City Alliance kind of helped us game plan. They helped us look for a building to an extent, and then they also kind of said, okay, you're going to need these potentially additional inspections or things that you need to consider because of your unique concept that we hadn't really thought about before. So they've been very helpful in that way. Speaking personally, I'm also very involved with Lancaster City Restaurant Week, and their Velocity event is actually their biggest fundraiser, and also allows them to sponsor Lancaster City Restaurant Week. So there's a working relationship there on multiple levels for me personally. And they have been a sponsor of Restaurant Week since its inception 8 or 9 years ago. So, they are very dedicated to all downtown businesses. They have kind of kickstarted and helped with the Lancaster Indie Retail Week to support all the retail shops. And honestly, from Decades perspective, they're all customers. Like, we see them on a regular basis. We see their names come up and when they're doing takeout. We see them in our dining room. We see them outside. They're just good people, and they just are here to help and help connect businesses that can support each other, and then offer just sound advice and direction. So anything that I've been involved with them, I think their result just winds up being a positive one for the city. And they're going to be also supporting in whatever way they can, and however that might be, to support the Bourbon Time effort this summer through the fall, and really just try and drive as many people downtown as possible to support our restaurants and retail shops and get people downtown. I mean, it's a great city, and we all love it here. So, I think as people learn what a special place we have, or kind of, hey, we've all got new routines from the last year, and maybe getting out and going downtown on a nice day, catching some music, and finding a spot to drink some bourbon and get some cheesesteak egg rolls. I mean, that we're done. We got a weekend.
That's right. So beyond the obvious, coming to bowl, coming to play arcade games, what other ways, as we kind of wrap up your segment here, how can people support Decades with the various other events you offer, just to put a nice little bow on this?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, we have done a lot of catered events for businesses, and I know a lot of businesses are, some businesses are just now kind of thinking about returning to the office, and potentially need some team building opportunities. So, hosting an event is a tremendous way to support Decades. As an individual consumer, please come check out Decades in any way that you feel comfortable. We do offer takeout. We have outside seating for the summer, and we also have indoor seating, games, and bowling. So there's just a ton to do. Another good way to support really all restaurants right now is plan ahead, make a reservation, and then show up for your reservation, or let them know if your plans have changed. That way, with all the limitations on space and things that we're still navigating through, we are still doing that. And we will be for the next 2 weeks. As a whole, it's very tough. So anything that the consumer can make it easier on the restaurants to navigate is only going to benefit them, and better service and expectations and things like that. So, and I think, we also sell a bunch of merchandise. We've got shirts, gift cards, things like that. So a lot of the Decade stuff makes good presents, and, summertime, not really a gift giving time unless it's birthdays and stuff, but maybe again, plan ahead and look to the holidays already. So there's a lot of different things that you can do, but I think the best thing for people is just come check it out if you haven't been there.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Well, Chris, we really appreciate your time. We're coming into the home stretch. We'll bring you and Ann back on as we wrap up. All right. But thanks for your time. Really great venue. I'll definitely get my family out there, and my kid will look forward to embarrassing his dad as he rolls like a 257 and I barely make 100. So
yeah,
at any rate, thanks for joining us.
We have high score prizes, so he could get on the high score there. So that's something to consider. But thank you again for the opportunity, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no sweat. Remember, this show is also available as a podcast. You can find the links at LancasterConnects.com. Please like and share this video. Leave a comment. Tell a friend about this show. We would greatly appreciate that. There on the screen, you can see the various podcast icons. So it might remind you, oh, yeah, I listened to that one. Search up Lancaster Connects in that one. We'll get you square.